Good everyone, I'll do this video. Today we have part 3 of part 4, I'm losing my marbles here, of the premium showcase, obviously requested by It's Rainy Boy. And straight away, there is a couple of aircraft in Britain that I have got my eye on, so I'm going to mention these at the start because I've been neglecting to put them near the start, and I'm kind of an idiot for that, so terribly sorry. But if you go back, I do mention them in most of them. I believe I mentioned them in Germany and Russia. There wasn't really anything for US that I wanted to mention all that much. Um, so yeah, sorry about that. But from now on, there is going to be a mention of the vehicles that I do want to add to the collection at the start. So I'm terribly sorry for that. So before we begin, I'm just going to mention what is going to be coming into the collection for tank forces, and the only thing is the Independent because it's a meme. And for aircraft, there's probably going to be the Avenger Mark II because then I get to make an Avengers reference. And as for other aircraft, there's going to be the Thunderbolt and maybe the Mustang. So that's what you can look forward to add to the, well, for me, adding to the collection. So starting out the premium showcase, we have the Turkish Gladiator Mark II. It's a Gladiator. Not really much to cover here. I mean, I've covered Gladiators quite a lot on the channel. I love these things. They're fun little buzz boxes, but unfortunately, due to the matchmaker and how it is sometimes, they get royally shafted, which is a real shame. Turks Gladiator is based off. I can't remember who it is based off, but I think it was a guy who had a mid-air collision in his Gladiator. I don't remember. Here you can clarify. But yeah, this is an aircraft that is cheap, it's fun, and, well, it's a low-tier buzz box. What are you going to get out of it other than just pure fun? Next up, we have the Swordfish Mark II. This was from one of the, I think it was one of the events in, was it 2020? Like mid 2020 summer, something like that, before Operation Summer began. And this was one of the two vehicles you could get. Obviously, you've already seen the LVT in the US, that was the other vehicle. And of course, on that video, I got accused of buying them, which was rather hilarious. And whilst the Swordfish isn't great, and it's certainly not what I would call stellar in terms of performance and capability, the rockets on this thing at low tier for 1.0 are an absolute meme. This thing is ridiculously fun, and in some cases ridiculously broken because you don't even have to hit a tank sometimes to kill it. And it's just insane what this thing can do once it's left alone. The problem is you make a gust of wind knock you out of the air sometimes, so you really have to be careful with your situational awareness and planning of not only what's around you, but also the trees. Because trust me, sometimes you might not even have the power to avoid a tree. Next up, we have a plane that was actually buffed recently, the Whirlwind. This aircraft a couple of patches ago received a buff to its elevator authority. It feels slightly better to pull out of a dive, which really benefits it due to its low rip speed. And yeah, it's an absolute barrel of laughs. I mean, it's a Whirlwind. It's something unique. You don't see these things. And it's just so much fun. And if you haven't got yourself a Whirlwind, you are definitely missing out. Next up, we have the Catalina Mark III-A. One of the many premiums that I picked up in the sale in November, and it was certainly a surprise for me because I was expecting these things to be bad, but I ended up having a barrel of laughs with both the Russian and the British Catalina. It's certainly something that you don't expect to have fun in, but when you do, you'll be surprised. Now, of course, in terms of a rank 1 bomber for premium status, I wouldn't recommend the Catalina. The next aircraft I would, but if you already have the next aircraft, this thing would be a nice sort of fun aircraft to add to your collection. Speaking of that, we have the Havoc, one of my favorite planes of all time. Ever since I got this thing, and ever since I actually started to play it when I first got it, I absolutely fell in love with this thing. It was the perfect combination of speed, turn rate, firepower, durability, and it's just so much fun. If you haven't got yourself a Havoc, you are massively missing out. It can work in up tiers, it can work in ground forces, even though the bombs are a bit shit, but it's still a highly, highly capable aircraft, and if you do not have one, it is only 400 GE. Just get it. Seriously, just get it. Next up, we have Sulley, the Hudson, one of my favorite other aircraft, because this one can actually do dailies, unlike the Havoc. This thing has done me so many base bombing tasks of rank 2, it's unbelievable. And it's also done me so much service as a heavy fighter if I need air, or if I need just assist, or like if I just want to muck around. And even though the rockets might as well not be on the aircraft, it is still very good with its bomb load. It's still got great coverage, great durability, and even though fires have hit and miss, as with most aircraft, it is still a fantastic plane to add to your collection. And for just 700 Golden Eagles, you'd be stupid not to. Moving on to part 2, we have the Hurricane Mark I FAAM. That's a mouthful. Actually, looking up the history of this aircraft was actually quite difficult, because I was curious as to where this aircraft has come from. And from what I've been able to find, it comes from, I believe, a training school for Hurricanes, and then it was transferred to HMS Ark Royal after being modified to give or to have tail arrestor hook equipment. Some of them might be incorrect because some of the sources are a bit iffy, so if there is any information that you happen to have, please do put it in the comments below. But this is certainly an aircraft that, when it came as part of the Battle of Britain event, I was more than happy to grind a little bit just to get it. It's a Hurricane. It does have a really weird issue with its rudder, which no other Hurricane Mark 1L has, but it's Gaijin. They screw up flight models daily, so we can't exactly say if they're wrong in that. Next up, we have the Corsair F Mark II. You should have seen the Premium Series flight for this by now, because I kind of need to do that. But the Corsair F Mark II has been in its fair share of videos as well. It's a cracking aircraft, and all I'll say is if you need a rank 2 premium, look no further. This is easily the best rank 2 premium for Britain. Then we come on to a plane that I've been getting a lot of views on lately, which is concerning. The Spitfire Mark II Venture 1. Now, why do I say that it's concerning that this thing is getting views over the Corsair? I mean, the Corsair is still getting views, but I just thought I'd mention the Spitfire. I'm kind of disappointed that people are picking this Spitfire over the Corsair. Now, as I mentioned in the review, this is not a bad plane. I'm just disappointed that people keep picking it over a Corsair. I can understand that people have their own tastes and their own play styles, but I'd really love to see more Brit airs in the sky. But that's just me. Next up, we have the Martlet Mark IV, the only Wildcat that doesn't overheat. I don't know why this thing doesn't overheat, to be brutally honest. I mean, you really have to ride this thing hard just to like make it overheat, and even then, it doesn't do it sparingly. This aircraft was a... When was this? I think this was 2018 when this aircraft came into the game. I think. I honestly don't remember. It was either 2018 or 2019. And there was this, and there was the FJ4B, which I also have, but of course that's not a premium, so I'm not showcasing it. And this was definitely a nice aircraft to add to the collection. Now, of course, it is based off the F4 F4, which is not my favorite model of Wildcat. I prefer the F3 personally, but this thing doesn't overheat, unlike those Wildcats. So that's why I tend to fly this more than I do those. So yeah. If you see me flying a Wildcat, it's probably going to be a Martlet because that's just what I prefer. Next up, we have the Boomerangs, and I know Harry's waiting for me to give my overview on this. These were aircraft that originally, because I'd seen so many videos on these things getting negative response, negative, shall we say, like overviews, and I'd just been thinking, I was thinking at the mind, like I was thinking, this is going to be bad. I will never add these to my collection. But then I got a 1 day test drive. Sorry, no, 12-hour test drive. And I mentioned it to Harry, and he was like, "Are you crazy? Let's go. Take this thing out. Have a go." And I was like, "Fine, I'll take it out." And I ended up falling in absolute love with these things because of the way they flew. I didn't think these things were going to suit my playstyle. but they did. And even though it's got a problem with overheating and the 20s run out really quickly, you still have 4,000 rounds of MG in both models. What more do I need to say? And if you get a test drive for the Boomerang Mark I for 12 hours, I heavily suggest giving it a go, and you never know, it might consider you to pick it up. That's all I'm saying. Moving briefly onto the Mark II, it's no real different than the Mark I, and this thing does crop up in war bonds. So if you are going to get the Mark I, get the Mark II in war bonds. Don't actually buy it. It's not often it comes up in war bonds now though, but once it does, I'd recommend getting this thing in war bonds and not actually in like purchasing it. But if you're really a big fan of boomerangs like I was, just buy the damn thing. It's a lot of fun. Moving on to part 3, we have the Hellcat Mark II. And this is the last part of the showcase because I hardly have any British premium tanks. The Hellcat is one of those aircraft that, again, I see a lot of people playing wrong. They just strap bombs and rockets to it and go and farm, and then they kill a couple of light toolboxes, rage that their team doesn't cover them, and etc. etc. But as you saw in the review, this is certainly an aircraft that I would highly suggest. For just 1300 Golden Eagles, this thing is an absolute steal. And it's amazing what this thing can do once you get it going. But of course, we then come to the final aircraft, which I hope you enjoyed the carry for this, by the way, was the Whirlwind P9. This is an aircraft that, as you saw in the carry, this thing has a much better benefit over the standard Whirlwind Mark I, and having that extra 200 plus cannon rounds is a huge benefit. And even though the Whirlwind doesn't get a great reputation now, I still think this is one of the better planes that you can get access to. Now, how did I get mine? Well, remember that ship crafting event in, I believe it was 2019? That's when I got mine. I traded the ship coupon for this because I'm not having a damn ship, even if it has cool T-34 turrets. But that's just me. And personally, I'm really glad, I should say, I made that trade. Next up, we move on to the tanks of Britain. I don't have many of these, but in terms of, as I said, in terms of British tanks, there's only one I really want to add to the collection, and that's the Independent, just for the memes. But we have the A13 Mark I 3rd Royal Tank Regiment, and, well, all I will say is don't buy this thing and don't bother, purely because of the massive power creep in ground forces nowadays, and that's not a joke. The amount of autocannon spam, the amount of heavy MG spam from half tracks, and obviously because Britain can now fight US and ground forces, from what I've been noticing, it has been extremely difficult to let the A13s keep up. And even though you still get an excellent 2-pounder cannon, I can't really advise getting this sort of vehicle. I only have it because it's free. And the reason why I say it's free is because when British Tanks came out, you could get this thing for free if you, I think you've won like 2 matches. So I thought, you know what, let's do it. I'll get something free, and sure enough, I did. Then we come to the A13 Mark II 1939. This was formerly a pack vehicle, then it was moved to the marketplace, and this vehicle I got back in, I think it was like early 2020 when they did the anniversary for War Thunder. I think it was 7 years. Um, and they allowed us to get either the D371 HS9, which Harry, I'd love to see a video on that, because you haven't done a video on it, and I want to see if I actually missed out on something, or if I really dodged a bullet. So feel free to do that for me. I've done enough videos on this A13. Um, but this doesn't really bring anything else to the table. It just adds a little bit of extra gunmetal armor and doesn't really provide anything in terms of, shall we say, detail that is really important. And to gain its BR increase to 1.7 is really not warranted in my opinion. So that's just how I see it. And then finally, we come on to the Crusader the Saint. And whenever I play this tank, I'm just so tempted to play the song The Saints Are Marching In, because yes, I'm that sad. But this is a tank that is actually relatively recent. I got it back in December in the sale. And I also picked up a few of the other starter pack premium vehicles, which you're going to see in later showcases, because you'll see one in. There's the Italian starter pack, which will be combined with China. There's the Japanese starter pack, which will be combined with Japan, because, well, Japan's just being its own nation in the showcase series. France and Sweden will be combined, so you'll see the French one, but obviously I don't have the Swedish pack yet. I do plan to pick up the Swedish pack, but obviously I'll mention that in that video as well. But I hope you enjoyed the brief showcase of my British premiums. Obviously, I do have a lot. I don't have as many tanks as I would want, but there isn't really anything British tank-wise at rank 3 that I really want. But I hope you enjoyed today's video on the British premiums, and obviously next one will be Japan. I'll see you all on the next one.